Mamie belle, la moustache et la capucha. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Sito patamilo, milata katiki takatiki. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Sito patamilo, milata katiki punetika. Mamie belle, la moustache et la capucha.
What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today is the day where I do my sports rundown. Normally, y'all know I do my sports rundowns. I try to get them done on Friday, but lately a lot of stuff has been going on in sports that's happening over the weekend, so I have to do the sports rundown on the weekends because I think some of the stories that happen over the weekend are more interesting than some of the stories that, happen prior to the weekend. So starting off with story number one, Iowa falls to South Carolina in the Women's National Championship game. Caitlin Clark had 30 points. She actually led her team, and the big talk was Cardor, the young the female center for South Carolina. I mean, she's been giving everybody the business in this college basketball season, and she has been doing very well. Last night she had 15 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 blocks. So she was a big thing. The thing that I think shocks me the most is how many people kind of discredited South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina was a very good team coming into the season, and with the understanding that they lost last year, they did not want to lose this year. So Iowa falling wasn't a surprise to me. I mean, South Carolina was the best team in women's college football this year, without a shadow of a doubt. What they didn't want to do was that they did not want to see LSU again, because LSU was the team that gave them the biggest problems and the biggest fits. They beat them, but it was a battle when they went against LSU. And when they went against Iowa, Caitlin Clark did her best to sit up there and try to keep her team in. But as time went on, South Carolina started hitting their outside threes. And, the center, Cardor, she was just playing lights out. I mean, she was getting every rebound. She was getting all the putbacks. I mean, she had some major blocks. So again, like I said, great game in the women's college basketball tournament. Like I said, South Carolina wins the national championship, and I think this is their third under Dawn Staley. So this is a huge victory for that. And now we're going to see Caitlin Clark go into the WNBA, and we're going to see how good she is in the WNBA, because again, one thing about the WNBA, they do play defense. And we're going to see if she's able to adjust very well with that style of gameplay, because it's not one of the easier gameplays when it comes to women's basketball. They really do play defense. And, I mean, we'll definitely see what Caitlin Clark is at the next level. Next is the NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs is going to be great this year. I mean, absolutely great. For all the people that sit up there and only watch the NBA, when the playoffs come around, you're going to be catching it at a fantastic time. Because right now, you're talking about the play-in games, which is 7 through 10, are going to be some huge games. I mean, all the teams that's on the outside looking in are top-level teams and are playing like they really need it. We saw Golden State last night. Golden State sat up there, and we saw Klay Thompson actually show that, look, I know we got Steph Curry, but understand, I'm legit too. And he put on a points clinic. He did not play. We're also seeing what seems to be a more humbled Draymond Green playing very well as well. So I think that whatever happened after that game where he was ejected very early in the game, I think that Draymond Green is dialed in, and he's humbled himself to the point at where he's actually sitting up there playing very well, and he's not getting into any trouble. He's not starting anything. He seems like he's on a different track when it comes to this. And like I said, the NBA playoffs is going to be amazing this year. Like I said, on the Western side, 7 through 10, that's the play-in tournament. 7 through 10 is huge. You got Golden State, you got the Lakers, I think it's the Rockets. That side is going to be massive when it comes down to it. And like I said, it's going to be great. On the Eastern side, it's actually, it got some steam going on there too. Teams are actually playing well. I understand that the Wizards aren't going to be in it, but I mean, just watching this NBA season, you know, for the first time where it's not just about the team that you're supporting, you're watching all the teams. I mean, it's maxing out. I mean, you're talking about even with the 76ers, I mean, Maxey, how good is this dude? I mean, 52? Yeah, I mean, it's going to shape up to be a very, very special playoffs, and I can't wait. I'm excited. I just cannot wait for this. Next is something that is huge that happened big time, and it's something that shocked me. It definitely shocked me because I didn't see this coming. But John Calipari walks away from Kentucky to go to Arkansas. He's going to sign a 5-year deal in Arkansas. And so many times people talk about the NIL ruining the college landscape, or that the draft portal is ruining college landscape. But nobody ever talks about this. Coaches just leaving. You know, coaches just leaving the schools. They don't talk about it, how that can damage a lot of college basketball and college sports and things like that. Coaches can just up and leave whenever. But for some reason, all these coaches got that same issue when it comes to players wanting to up and leave because they want to play somewhere else, or they want to get playing time and things of that such nature. So again, the fact that John Calipari is walking away from Kentucky is a huge deal, especially after the showing he had in the NCAA tournament where Kentucky was knocked out in the first round. So again, this is gonna like make some waves in the college basketball season next year, because Arkansas, that's a shocker. I'm surprised he went from Kentucky to Arkansas. Not to say that Arkansas is a bad school or anything like that. It's just when you got the blue brand of Kentucky, you know, when you talk about the big schools when it comes to college basketball and the notoriety that they get for being college basketball schools, to go from Kentucky to Arkansas, even though, I mean, the last time I really remember Arkansas being like a really, really legit thing was when, what is his name? Williamson, when I cannot remember the coach. But the coach that was there, and he had Corliss Williamson, I think it was Corliss Williamson, and I can't remember the other player that was there. But that was the last time I remember Arkansas being like a really legit team. And that right there is like shocking for him to go from Kentucky to Arkansas. You know, I mean, maybe he thought he was going to Kansas. I don't know. but no, I mean, but that's a huge blow to Kentucky, because now they have to go find their replacement. And I mean, who can you trust? I mean, you're talking about, we're now seeing a lot of the turnover when it comes to some of these older coaches, but there are coaches that are gone. Will what's his name? Paterno. Maybe Paterno might think to, because I think he just took the job with LaSalle, or he just took a job with somebody. Will Paterno be willing to leave to return to Kentucky? Because I think he was at Kentucky years ago. So will Paterno leave and go to Kentucky? Who knows? I mean, that's a huge school. That's a big school. Can Can Kentucky woo Penny Hardaway from Memphis? You know, I mean, there are things that can happen. I mean, we don't know, but we'll definitely see. Juwan Howard. Would Kentucky hire Juwan Howard? We don't know. So, again, John Calipari leaving Kentucky high and dry to go to Arkansas on a 5-year deal. That's a huge thing. And we'll see how that goes about. Last but not least is a story that, again, it was an interview that I heard over the weekend. And is Tiger Woods going to retire? From his interview, it seemed like he was contemplating this being his last run as a golfer. It does seem like this might be the end, but can you blame him? You're talking about a guy who doesn't reach the end of tournaments anymore. He always have to leave early because he's feeling some type of pain or he has some type of issues. And I'm going to tell you something. For Tiger to be a golfer, he has some of the craziest injuries, like injuries that you would normally associate with football players. He has these type of injuries from his back to his knees, even to the car accident he had where he has his leg now or his ankle or something like that. But Tiger has been a phenomenon for a very long time, and he has been a special player for a lot of his years. And for him to retire, it's probably the best time. It's probably the best time. And he needs to retire at a moment where his greatness can still over succeed his failures. You know, because once you get into the depths of Tiger Woods has had a very good golfing career, but he's also had a tumultuous personal life as well. I mean, when you think about some of the things that really happened, Tiger, to me, even though he's always been like at the top of the heap when it comes to golf, he's always come off as a guy always trying to fit in, even when golf never asked him to fit in. You know, Tiger was one of those guys that he was a child prodigy. He was a child prodigy. I remember as a kid being young, staying up to watch the Johnny Carson show, the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And I remember Tiger Woods showed up on that show. I remember Bob Hope used to have some type of celebrity golfing tournament, and I remember Tiger showed up there. And Tiger was really young at that time. And I remember I was really young, and I remember Tiger was young too. And he would show up there with his dad, Earl, and everything like that. And Tiger was just this kid prodigy. I mean, Tiger Woods had more anticipation on him than LeBron James did. And I remember that. But Tiger always came off as a guy who was always trying to fit in when he didn't have to fit in. I remember when he first won his little Masters, even when he was coming up through the amateur ranks. He was one of the most elite golfers, even in the amateur ranks. And everybody was anticipating the coming of Tiger. Everybody talked about it. Everybody was expecting it. Everybody couldn't believe it was happening. And when he turned pro, it became the biggest thing ever. And I remember when he won his first Masters and Fuzzy Zoeller. And this was where I started to feel that Tiger started to force himself to try to fit in. And it was the Fuzzy Zoeller comment. When he won and Fuzzy Zoeller said, you know, I hope the dinner isn't fried chicken and collard greens. And that right there is where I feel that Tiger Woods started to go through his emotional problems and emotionally going through his problems and feeling like he always had to fit in, because he was also the one that coined the phrase Cablasion or something like that. And it was like he always came off as apologetically black. You know, it wasn't one of those things where he was just okay with everybody identifying him as black. He just always came off as apologetically black. You know, like it was like, you know, even when it came down to him doing the I remember he did this thing where he had the interview and he talked about how much of the races he had in him, and it was like he was 125th Thai, 125th Chinese, 125th white, and when he got to the black part, he was 1/8, and it was like, bro, like, was that even necessary? Like, golf has always did a fantastic job with protecting Tiger when it came to not really having to deal with racism and stuff like that. And they did a fantastic job with doing that, but for some reason, Tiger always made it a point of always trying to sit up there and separate himself from his black background. And those type of things was the things that kind of worried me a lot about Tiger. And then when his dad Earl passed away, that was when we really started to see the collapse of Tiger. And I think that nobody ever really felt the need to explore Tiger's mentals once his dad passed away. And one of the things that happened was that prior to his dad passing away, he got married very early on. He was in the height of his career. I think it was like around 2002 or something like that he got married. He was too young to be married at that point. But he got married so early on. And again, this was all a part of the whole fitting in thing. You know, and I think at the time, his wife, Erin, I think that was her name, she was younger than him. I think she might have been like 19 or something like that. But she was younger than him. And he was not ready to be a husband. And like I said, even at that point, you're talking about, I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 years later, his dad ended up passing away. And that's when I think that we ultimately started to see the collapse of Tiger. Because remember, if most people remember, he was losing. He didn't win. I think it was like 2002, 2003. And then Vijay Singh was like the man in 2004 or something like that. And then Tiger started to storm back. But at that point, Tiger was already off the rails. We had started to hear rumors and stuff about what was going on off the green and everything like that. And then when the big blow up happened with him and his wife, and you find out he's dealing with all these different girls and stuff like that, nobody ever equated it to the fact that it could have been a part of him losing his dad. His dad had been with him for so long, had protected him for so long, but Tiger never actually sat up there, and I think Tiger never dealt with it. So, like I said, again, it's sad to see Tiger go. It's really sad to see Tiger possibly retire because he's been so important to the game of golf. Golf and their purses, what they get now, and what the amount of money a lot of these golfers make now, a lot of that is definitely due to Tiger, because Tiger brought eyes to the sport. He brought more advertising to the sport. He brought a lot of things to the sport, and most important, he brought all the money to the sport. You talking about Tiger for golf? Tiger did for Nike what Jordan did for Nike with basketball. He did it for golf. So again, kudos to a very long career. It's probably best that he comes up and he retires soon, and just let it be. It's been a very good and long career. I'm pretty sure he would have won more titles if somebody would have talked him through his situation with his dad passing away, because I just think that his dad was his hero. And I think that he always looked to his dad for protection and advice. And then when he no longer had that available to him, he started to make decisions that didn't quite line up with who he actually was as a person. So, but again, hopefully Tiger is going to retire. Hopefully this is his last go around. And I mean, maybe he can play on the seniors tour. But right now, Tiger has these injuries that every time he plays in a tournament, he's always out. You know, he's out first round, or he can't make the cut, or most of the time it's just been him just quitting because his back is sore, or he has hip issues, or he has a knee issue, or his ankle is sore. So yeah, it's probably best that he retires. And again, he's gonna retire as a top golfer. Like, it's no doubt about it. He's been a fantastic contributor to golf and will always be a guy who stands out the most. I don't have anything for the It's All Cap segment. I will be returning to our regularly scheduled programming where I go back into the draft. I had to go back into the lab because there was some key things that I needed to get as I was going through the draft. There not a lot of pass rushes in this draft, but not a lot of great pass rushes in this draft. But like I said, again, this is going to be something special. Like I said, I'll be back with my players that we should look out for in this upcoming draft. And at the same time, I'm going to do my not mock draft. That's going to come a week before the draft. And I'll be also bringing up other stuff about the Commanders, about some of the Wizards, and what the Wizards' next steps need to be in their upcoming draft. And also even with the Caps possibly not making the playoffs again, probably burned themselves out when they went on that run. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.